Racism comes from poverty, says the new Green Party leader Zack Polanski. And we're going to read into this exclusive from the iPaper, you guys. So the new Green Party leader believes that the super wealthy are utilising working class resentment and unhappiness with poverty to whip up hate against migrants. And it's true. It's not just a statement from Zack Polanski. It's absolutely true. Because when you have money, you can buy influence. You can use that influence to influence other people to go in a certain direction that benefits you. And we know that politicians are under the influence. Many politicians within Westminster are under the influence of millionaires and billionaires. And also we have a broken political system that does need reforming. Since Zack Polanski has been elected leader of the Green Party, he has done countless interviews and podcasts. And I said this before, and I'm going to keep saying this again for all the people who have problems and complaints about him. Don't take what I say from him. Listen to what he says. Listen to what he says, how it comes across. Because language matters. And what he says speaks more volume about things that are happening in the UK than you know. He talks about it. He knows what is happening. We know what is happening. And we need a voice like Zack Polanski more than ever. Because, well, for all the things that people say about Jeremy Corbyn, and I want to make this clear, Jeremy Corbyn has baggage now. You know, the whole anti-Semitism row when he was Labour leader, that is a stain on him. He will always have baggage on him, sadly. Whereas Zack Polanski, he is a new, fresh face. He can be the voice that many people need right now. And I would just say, just hear him out, is all I will say for those who doubt him. So, autonomy is gone, said Zack Polanski, 3 days after becoming the new leader of the Green Party of England and Wales. As we sat down to talk in a Swedish cafe in South London, he seemed punch drunk by the sudden reconciliation in the streets. It's the realisation of the amount of people stopping you. I'm human being before I'm being a politician. But he looks pumped up by all of it, the adrenaline, the attention, the argy-bargy of political argument. The former actor has a new stage now since launching his leadership bid in May. He's gone viral on social media and sees more concentrated airtime than any Green politician in its 35-year history. And this is exactly what the Green Party need. If the Green Party are to make gains, you need someone who's going to start making traction. And that's exactly what he's doing. The former Deputy Leader 42, who isn't an MP, but a London Assembly member, the one against Adrian Ramsey MP and Ellie Charles MP with 85% of the votes, a self-proclaimed eco-populist, Polanski pitched himself as the more radical left-wing choice and trounced his rivals. There's a real sense of the country right now that this is the moment, he says. That moment, he explains, is the fight back from the left. Knives are already out. The Labour Party immediately released attacks on social media. A right-wing newspaper columnist mocked his appearance, specifically the jagged, grabbed teeth and the shades of Hannibal Lecter mask. Quotation, I think they're wankers, Polanski said. Yeah, like, already they're sticking it out because they know, those on the right know that Polanski is a threat, which is why they've gone after him. And even a columnist in the left-wing magazine, The New Statesman, left-wing? I don't know about them being left-wing. I don't agree with that at all. Described him as unconvincing while imagining the search for the new left's answer to Nigel Farage as the dragging of trawler net through the Dalston vegan hotspots. Okay. Some weird annotations there, but okay, just go with it, I suppose. It's not just his anomaly that disappeared, it's almost any semblance of caution. In the space of just a few minutes, he shoots at the series of targets most politicians would leave well alone. The president of Israel, who are visiting Britain this week, which has already happened, should be arrested because he's been complicit in war crimes. Farage should resign over his tax affairs. The former UK leader did not respond to a request for comment. And the government's crackdown on Palestine action is the beginning of fascism. Where does Polanski stand on Palestine Action? The direct action protest organisation, which uses vandalism as a tactic and has been prescribed as a terror group since July, says, if you asked me before the law was committed, do I stand with Palestine Action? Absolutely, he said. Should it be a prescribed group? Well, I have to stick to the law, he said, adding that there are legitimate questions about the prescription. A group that is speaking out against the genocide and saying that these things that are happening is an atrocity, and it's something that not only should people support, we probably should be all right with right there with them. And Home Office spokesperson said the prescription of Palestine Action does not affect the freedom to protest on Palestinian rights. It's about tackling a specific group linked to criminal damage and intimidation, which has resulted in serious harm to individuals. Those suspected of breaking the law risk arrest and prosecution, including for terrorism offences. When the Daily Mail published a photo of him in an I Support Palestine Action t-shirt, they managed to make Zack Polanski look cool. He said, already speaking about himself in the third person. Meanwhile, in Gaza, he said, our government are not just complicit, but actively enabling a genocide. They're selling arms. The government this week said it has not concluded a genocide is taking place, nor that parts of the F-35 jet sold to Israel have enabled breaches of international humanitarian law. This is absolute nonsense from the British government. We know that's all nonsense. Will Polanski be prepared to go to prison to support Gaza? Yes, he says. I'm the leader of a political party, so I've got a voice and a platform. But does my freedom matter more than the facts of a genocide is going on? No. But he views on immigration could rile the electorate up further, as England flags and Union Jacks have been struck across the country this summer. Yet part of the Operation Raise the Colours movement. So Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary until last week, said they had flags flying in their homes. I don't believe them, says Polanski. I can smell bullshit from a million miles away. Why would he fly a Union flag? No, I don't think would he fly a Union flag? No, I think it's a bit odd. The idea is needed that the flag is demonstrating your patriotism. That's imported from America. This does not feel like patriotism. It feels like intimidation. The movement coincides with protests outside hotels as housing asylum seekers as Reform UK surges in the polls. If you feel secure, why would you hate another person? Antagonism towards migrants comes from poverty, he said. There are exceptions. There are people who are racist, and we have a longer conversation about where that racism comes from, because I believe that probably comes from poverty. I think if you don't have a scarcity in your life and you feel safe and secure, why would you hate another person? That's true. To assert that racism comes from poverty is outrageous, and I say loudly enough that Green Party staff sitting 20 feet away started to turn heads. Hold on, there's lots of very wealthy people who are also racist, he begins. So your argument does not work, I say. Well, no, it does, he says, rehashing his argument, before adding that if you are in poverty, it's very easy to be whipped up by the rich. And right now, the super wealthy are utilising working class resentment and unhappiness with poverty to whip up hate against migrants. Because remember, the people want you to think that people are coming across on the boats are the ones causing harm to everything that's happening to you, when the reality is that's not what's the case. It's the government you should be venting your anger at. Polanski acknowledges that the history of working class people standing up against fascism, but racism and anti-immigration beliefs are not the same. Would you rather have a drink with an asylum seeker or a protester against them? Asylum seeker, he said. I find their life experience interesting. And I would too. Because they've been travelling. It'd be an interesting one. Perhaps surprisingly, Polanski adds that prison was not the best place for Lucy Connolly, who spent a year in jail after inciting racial hatred against asylum seekers held in hotels. He said, I'm someone who believes in rehabilitation and community service over a prison population. The consequences should focus on making people better citizens. The law rises again as the conversation turns into transgender rights. Following the Supreme Court's judgment that under the Equalities Act, women should be defined by biological sex. The Equalities Human Rights Commission, the EHRC, said the government has suggested that trans women should use male toilets. Should trans women comply? No, absolutely not, he says. I think everyone should obey the law, but if the law is wrong, then we need to campaign to change the law. The implementation of the judgment is yet to be fully understood, but the EHRC has this week delivered its guidance to the government, which campaigns and supporters of LGBT plus rights fear could have far-reaching effects. Theresa May was more progressive than Starmer on trans rights. If focused to use male changing rooms and bathrooms, for example, trans women would be outing themselves in public. The natural consequences of this is that trans people aren't allowed to exist, said Polanski. Starmer welcomed the ruling for providing clarity, and although his spokesperson said he no longer believes trans women are women. The Prime Minister is complicit with the transphobia in this country, says Polanski. It is astonishing that Theresa May, a Conservative who was significantly more progressive on trans rights than the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister said after the ruling that his government will make sure trans people are treated with respect and urged others to conduct this debate with care and compassion it deserves. While Starmer this week accused the Greens party of being plastic progressives, Polanski, or perhaps has one fan from the Labour Party, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. Asked which famous figures has congratulated him on winning the leadership, Polanski replies, I don't have permission to say this, but the Mayor of London sent me a private congratulations, which I thought was really gracious. Make no mistake, however, the Labour Party, Polanski warns, are petrified of him and his party, and they should be, because they know that we're coming for them. Yeah, I don't think that would look... I think Sadiq Khan's going to be in big trouble, but he did send that message. But, yeah, like, it's... he's... Again, like, is he perfect? No. Can he have flaws? Yes. I think he's a hell of a lot better right now than for Reform. Like, he's not gonna BS you. He's not BSing you. He's been honest about himself. He's been honest about what's happening in the UK as a whole. And that's what we need. We need a bit of hard truths. The truth is, racism is coming from poverty because people are being whipped up to believe that all their problems lie around immigration. And that's not true. It's not true at all. But like I said, like Zack Polanski will gain traction. He will build up traction. And he's going to take advantage. He needs to take full advantage of the social media around him and continue to build up that profile, because he can lift the Greens to new heights. And I generally believe he can, even if some people don't agree with all of his policies. And you know what? That's fine. You're not always going to agree, whatever your political affiliations, whether you're left or right. You're not always going to agree with everyone within your spectrum about everything that they do. But one thing you definitely want is for people to be better off. You want everyone to have a better living. You want to have a better life, and so does he. He wants people to have a better working life. And I generally believe that Reform UK, the Conservative Party, and Labour, their interests have nothing to do with ordinary people. I really, really believe that. But what do you guys honestly think? What do you guys make of Zack Polanski and things that he has said in this interview? And have you checked out any other interviews of him yourself? Let me know your thoughts and more down in the comment section below. If you found this video interesting and informative, hit the like button, share us across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content as well. And if you want to financially support me in the work that I do on this channel, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.